So, everybody's here right now, who's not gonna make it? It sounds like, and I'm guessing Deb's on her way. You didn't hear from Deb?
I did not hear from Deb.
Okay. Okay, we have additions to the agenda.
We do.
2 additions, it looks like. And so with those 2 additions, I'll make a motion, we adopt that addition.
Second.
Seconded by Cheryl. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, approve and correct minutes from the May 6th meeting.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Okay, motion by David to approve the minutes.
Second.
Second by Kella. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Passed. Financial reports. In some of these I was looking, there was one sheet that talked about a difference we had from the original budget till not. But
Yeah,
is that the stuff that we've been just kind of approving through the year that added up?
Well, the original budget and the adjustments that we made, there's a sheet that we'll go over that. It's an agenda item itself. We'll certainly talk about that as the agenda item.
Okay,
So that's, I'll specifically go over that during that time.
okay. Okay. We have the treasury report and the monthly balance sheets. Do you have any corrections or additions? Questions? Okay.
I'll make the motion to
A
approve.
motion by David to approve the financial reports,
Second.
second by Mark. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Passed. Okay, audit approval of bills.
I had the opportunity to go to the district office this afternoon, and I reviewed the additional April bills and the May bills, and I didn't see anything out of the norm, so I would make a recommendation to approve the bills as written.
Okay, motion by Mark. I'll make a second, seconded by me. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Okay, we have consent agenda.
This is in accordance with master contract.
Okay. Review and consider authorizing the following 2013-14 school year teacher and support staff career increments. We do this all up in one,
Yeah.
so to speak. Okay. First is, A is 20 years for Ron Fuchs, B is 20 years for Joan Brogard, and C is 35 years for Mary Keeble.
Make a recommendation to approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion by Mark to approve the consent agenda, seconded by Cheryl. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Passed. Business. Number 1 on business is review first reading of revised 2013-14 budget.
Yep, and that's the schedule you have in front of you. Just a few notes on it. We're about 29 students down this year, and that's where a lot of the adjustments were made. If you take a look at the general fund, as far as the revenue, $95,902 short. Again, that's primarily done by the enrollment piece. By close figure, the 29 students cost the district about, I guess, about $170,000. So we did really start to keep as much of the budget handy as we could. So the fact that we've come out as well as we did, I'm really happy with that right now. So, but that's really for the revenue. The $95,000 is primarily caused by the enrollment piece. also, if you go all the way down to, in the general fund, all the way down to the expenditures, the $67,954 really is created primarily by the WCED and special ed buildings that we're hoping will be adjusted by WCED. That they're taking a look at that now. We just won't know until they get a chance to take a look at everything and kind of close out the books a little bit on whether we'll get some additional dollars of that $67,000 back. And there were quite a bit more sub costs this year. We had a number of maternity leaves, which increased our sub costs quite a bit. So that's the main two things that have caused that. If you look at food service again, we were down about in the revenue about $5,000, almost $6,000 again. We believe that's caused primarily by the enrollment difference from what we projected. Pretty close as far as the revised expenditures though. For community education, there was a difference in the revised expenditures of about $23,000. That was primarily caused because of repairs and replacements to equipment in the fitness center that needed to be done, and also some utilities to the community ed building itself that was not put on the budget. So that's the primary difference for the change in between the expenditures and the revenue. For the capital, that really, the $51,850, and again, the difference primarily is because of the enrollment. That affects our capital revenue also, so that's primarily the difference with our capital revenue. With the expenditures, part of it's the recommissioning, which we'll get back with health and safety dollars. Hazmat also charged us $3,775 for our little visit last year. If you look at page 25 of the yearbook, you'll find an interesting comment about that hazmat adventure, so you might want to take a look at that. Also, we moved the dust collectors to the outside, which was another $8,000, and that's about $51,000 of that particular difference that was caused there. The debt service was primarily because of the refunding that we did, the refinancing. There was some cost of issuance from Ellers, legal counsel, bank fees, that type of thing. That's what had caused that. But again, that was a good thing. We saved our taxpayers about $55,000 a year by doing that. Trust fund remained the same. Any questions on any of those pieces? And if you take a look at all funds, that all funds include debt service, health and safety. We're down about 193, 782, but again, some of that will come back because of the health and safety piece. When we look at the positive or deficit budget by fund, the general fund, we were down about 44,000. Now keep in mind that I hoped we were going to make about 100,000 on that this year. The enrollment really took a toll on that, special ed subs. That's where we're still $44,000 below, but remember that's really $144,000 because I had hoped to be putting about $100,000 into our general fund. But having said that, really based on everything that went on this year, I'm hoping it'll be a little bit better in the end, because that's what, if we spend every penny that we have budgeted out right now, that's where it will be. We're hoping that not all the budgets will be spent and we'll save a little bit, and we'll get some back from the WCED on special ed reimbursement. So we're hoping that'll be better. As far as food service, the deficit there really is the new freezer. That was the main addition to it, and we did keep some hours that we weren't sure what we were going to do at the elementary school. Community education, again, that was primarily the equipment repair and the utilities that weren't put on there. The capital really is caused by the enrollment and health and safety items that we didn't have on the budget originally, because remember when we put the budget together, the recommissioning wasn't part of that. Debt service, that's primarily refinance costs, but also levy adjustments. When you get so much in the pot, the state comes in and says, got too much there, and that amount goes back to the taxpayers. So although the $97,000 in the hole looks bad, it's not, because quite a bit of that went back to the taxpayers because we over levied for that. We have to make sure that we levy enough, but when we get too much in there, the state comes in and readjusts it. And then the other ones are just listed there, and they're a combination of those. So any questions on those?
With the community ed,
Yep.
do they get charged back for that? The equipment and whatnot?
For the equipment and stuff, they get the funds and stuff as they collect the funds for the fitness center. That's where those funds come from. It's what's charged to people to use the fitness center. They use those funds then to help repair and replace equipment as needed. So it's really charged, it doesn't come out of the general fund at all. It's a community piece.
Okay.
Any other questions? Like I said, I'll bring this back at the next meeting if you come up with any questions, please email me them or give me a call. We'll try to answer them. I'll bring it back to the next meeting for approval of this unless there's other questions that we need to answer.
Okay, then we'll move on to number 2 in business. Review and consider approval of paraprofessional contract for the 2013 to 2015 school years.
Right. Most of the changes to the contract were really by date. If you take a look at, or just changing the date from 11/13 to 13/15, if you take a look at page 8, section 11, personal leave. We did change the wording in there to a professional may not use more than 3 personal days in the school year, but we also did change it from being able to accumulate from a maximum of 3 to a maximum of 4. And we clarified also by putting language in there that said they could only use 3 of them. That's certainly past practice of what's happened, so they can only use 3 in any given year. And part of the reason for that was that they just felt like they were losing them if they weren't using them. And the other piece of this is that we've had some discussion about in the past, non-duty days were just kind of allowed. And we're stopping that past practice, and there needs to be a reasonable reason why they're taking a non-pay day. Because when they take a non-pay day, it does affect our students. So we're ending that past practice also, and that was another reason why we went from the 3 to the 4 days, in case they needed to have something special coming up and needed more days to use. Then if you take a look at page 9, under section 7, it says school closings. We added the district may choose to allow a portion of all of those hours to be used for paid staff development at a later, regularly scheduled, late start, or early out. We put that in there because, well, this year we lost 6 days. It's nice for us to have the option if we need to bring them back for staff development, that type of stuff. We're already budgeted for those amounts, so there's no additional fee to our cost to our regular budget. So we put in this to have the flexibility that if there was a really good staff development training that we wanted, we would have the option to be able to bring them back. Doesn't say that we will, but it says that we do have the option for it. All right? And then I think just the last piece is the second to last page, page 19, or page 18, and that's just a fee schedule. We put 10 cents on their steps for 2013-14 and 15 cents for 14-15. Those are the changes. The rest are just date changes.
Any other questions of anybody? We entertain a motion to approve. And
Yes, check see if there's any.
anything in the public? Comments from the public? Okay,
I would certainly recommend approval.
I'll make the motion to approve.
motion by David,
I'll second.
seconded by Deb. Can we just do this in regular vote?
Yes, it's going to be a regular vote.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Passed. Okay, then we are on personnel. Review and consider approval of resolution placing Diane Fortney on unrequested leave of absence by a .758 FTE due to lack of pupils and financial limitations.
The next 4 items are from the last, I think about 2 meetings ago. We had the first resolution for placing the staff on unrequested leave. Then you have to give them 14 days to ask for a hearing. There have been no requests for a hearing, so I'm glad about that because that would have been a cost to the district. We're past the 14 days now, so this is the second resolution that actually does commit to putting them on a non-request leave. I'm also pretty happy to say that for the most part, everybody that is on this list has a job, is my understanding. Except for Mr. Gunther, who will be coming back to us as long as the certification's done.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
We have a motion by Mark to approve,
Second.
a second by Deb. Any further discussion?
This is a roll call vote.
Okay, Mark?
Aye.
Deb? Aye. Dave?
Aye.
Bruce?
Aye.
Cheryl? Aye. Kelly? Aye.
Okay, then number 2. Review and consider approval of resolution placing Amy Jo Gavy on unrequested leave of absence by a .172 FTE due to lack of pupils and financial limitations.
So moved.
Motion by Deb,
Second.
second by Cheryl. Any further discussion? Linda?
Deb? Aye. Dave?
Aye.
Bruce?
Aye.
Cheryl? Aye. Kelly? Aye. Mark?
Aye.
Number 3, review and consider approval of resolution placing Mike Gunther on unrequested leave of absence by a .257 FTE due to lack of pupils, financial limitations, and certifications. Motion by David,
Second.
a second by Cheryl. Any further discussion? Linda?
Dave?
Aye.
Bruce?
Aye.
Cheryl? Aye. Kelly? Aye. Mark?
Aye.
Deb? Aye.
Okay, number 4, review and consider approval of resolution placing Michelle Hesse Kramers on unrequested leave of absence by a 1.0 FTE due to lack of pupils and financial limitations.
So moved.
Motion by Mark, I'll second that. Second by Bruce. Any further discussion? Linda?
Bruce?
Aye.
Cheryl? Aye. Kelly? Aye. Mark?
Aye.
Deb? Aye. Dave?
Aye. Okay, number 5, review and consider approval of increasing John Kiefler's physical education, physical education teacher by .087 FTE effective the 2014-15 school year.
What he'll really be doing is replacing Bill because of that retirement, so the .087 brings him to a full-time staff member. He's done an excellent job for us, so I would certainly recommend that we approve this.
I'll make a motion for approval.
Second.
Second by Cheryl. Any further discussion? Can this be just a regular vote, or does this have to be
No,
roll
this
call?
would be a regular.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say no. Passed. Review and consider hiring Riley Decker as a .8 FTE physical education teacher effective the 2014-15 school year.
What Riley's doing is filling the shoes of John. Although we are getting a little bit of cost savings, looking at FTEs, we did not need to put as much FTE back as what John had at that particular time. It's not a lot of savings, I think it's less than .1, but it's still savings.
Motion by Kella.
Second.
Second by David. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Passed. Number 7. Review and consider approval of Cal Anderson driving van the summer of 2014.
Yeah, what we believe it'll be for is a total of 16 days, 4 hours a day. It's kind of a special ed summer school piece that we need to provide.
So
Okay.
moved.
Motion by Deb,
Second.
second by Cheryl. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Passed. Okay, informational reports. Community Education Advisory Report from Cheryl.
I actually don't have a lot to add because the meeting was after our last board meeting and Matt pretty much gave it all. But I was kind of impressed with the fiscal year 2014 all program summary at 46,828 contract hours. That's a lot of hours. Of course, that's everybody, but, and the visits to the fitness center itself was up 752 visits over the year before. So a lot of use of that area. That was impressive. And the group that put together the pause before and after school for the daycare program has done an excellent job. They've got their handbook all written up. I have a copy here if you want to look at it tonight, but I'm sure we'll get more from the community. But they came up with some really good ideas and really did a lot of work. It's impressive and exciting. It looks like they've already got 40-some kids that are coming, and that's before school starts. So there probably will be more once word gets out. And I know the papers went out in the kids' folders, because I saw them in the kids' folders. So the information is out, and it looks like a great program, and they're really excited about it. I love it.
It's really been a strong group that put this together.
Matt sent me a copy of the thing that they sent out, just once I did it for you, to see if I was amazed that it covered a lot of bases that I didn't even think that the school would have to cover because it had to do with in-home daycare, I thought, but he's covered front, back, and I don't think they missed a thing. I couldn't find anything.
I couldn't find any loopholes either. They did a great
Very
job.
thorough job.
Great job. That's about it.
Okay, then number 2 is staff development report from our superintendent.
We met, we had a lot of discussion about goals for next year. So that was primarily what we talked about, what we put in out and finalized and put it on them on the website. We also discussed funding for next year, what we'd have for staff development. This year, because of the tight budget, I did put all the budget pieces back together with the hope that we'd save a little bit because we're down with enrollment next year. I will reallocate out to the elementary school and the high school to use their dollars and some dollars for district. So still not as much as we would like for staff development, but we're still going to be running on a tight budget, at least for the time being.
Okay, number 3, facility and equipment committee meeting. We have Blue Store Camp, but you and I were there.
Yep.
We just did the best we could. I think we pretty much approved what had been decided at the meeting before.
But,
We have the addition of Max coming up with lots of funds, largest portion to pay for additional bleachers on the track area. And I think that was probably the only change.
that was the only change from the last meeting. We've done a lot of discussion. Part of our problem is that we have a lot of wants and only so much money. So we did have to go into our reserve fund. I'm not comfortable with where we are at that, but at the same time, there were things that we needed to get done. We'll be bringing that report to the board at the next meeting, for the board to take a look at it and either have a first reading or possible approval of that plan.
Okay, next is administration negotiations. And I see my name is on that one. We're working on it. We met today, so I would say we have resolution on a few, and we're getting additional information on the rest. So I'd say we're still in motion. Then, number 5, paraprofessional negotiations. David?
We just approved.
Okay, so,
They were still, we had a tentative agreement before, I just wasn't sure that they would get to vote on it before this meeting, but they were able to accomplish that.
number 6 is support staff negotiations.
When we met, I don't think anything was ever finalized. They're not a tough group, though.
I think a lot of discussion, and now we have to get a little bit more information.
Yeah.
And we're set to meet again, I think, tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay, and then we also had a special board meeting with all the school board and the larger facility group, and a presentation from UHL, a little shorter than the last one, more content. And I just got a sneak preview of the Paynesville Press. I think they did a good job of what I read, of saying what took place there. It's all to refurbish and get the system back where it was originally designed. And we were all there, floor's open if anybody got anything else they'd like to add on that. Okay, administration report.
Just a few things. We're still really planning a lot for next year. That's our primary thing now. We're trying to finalize the integration plan. We sent it to the MD. Remember I presented to the board at least the budget. We sent it to the MD. They sent it back. We made changes, sent it back to MD. Spent about an hour on the phone with them talking about the changes that were made. I've made those changes now, and I hope to send it. One more little piece I need to add. I should hope to add that tomorrow. And then we're going to send it back to MD, and I hope that that will finalize it, in which case then we can do the nice projects that we put in place for that. And once we get it okayed, I will bring it back to the board, and we'll spend a little time just talking about the pieces that the integration plan will support. Went to the FFA banquet, and also the senior honors banquet. Both just excellent, just fantastic. I just want to pass this along. The FFA did send just appreciation to the school board certificate, so I'll pass that down. Our next facility meeting is tomorrow, and this will be the one where we really start to decide what we're going to do. What kind of plan are we going to put in place? So we'll start that discussion tomorrow at 6:30 in the middle school FCS room. The reason that we're in the middle school FCS room is that the middle school media center was being used. We're also going to take a walk over to the Reserve Center tomorrow. I'd like the committee members just to see what that building looks like, so that we can have a little bit of talk about that, because I also got in my email today, as a matter of fact, a piece from the Federal Real Property Assistance Program, and now I have to do another, I think, facility use report, which, because we're not using that building for anything right now, I will have to see how it goes.
It's a plan.
I think eventually, and it'll be part of the discussion with the facility too, is what we're going to use that building for. They certainly have told us that they will take it back. I don't think they want to take it back. So the question is what can we really do to keep that property? And what do we have to do? So I may be calling up Yolanda and having a discussion with her about what options are. Let's see. Did that, we're gonna get some additional dollars. That's a good thing, at least $25 per student for this legislative piece. We're looking at, could be more than that. I believe it will be, but I want to finalize those numbers before I bring them to the board. So that's a good thing. And that's all I have.
Okay, any other items from anybody on the board? If not, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Cheryl to adjourn, second by Kella. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no.
There is a choir concert going on for anybody that's interested.